everybody. Thank you for joining me once again. Um, Obviously, today I'm going to talk some more about Jeremy, and to me, and probably to a few people out there who haven't joined in many of the groups that I have online on Facebook and everything, the Labour Party groups and everything, then you won't, you'll just be reading the newspapers. And when you read the newspapers, you won't understand the passion that really goes on in some of these groups. That really, really want Jeremy Corbyn's led Labour. Now, Jeremy, to me, and to I know many, many thousands of other people, and including all of these that have joined the party as members, for us, he is the best thing that's happened to Labour. And the problem is not Jeremy; he's not the problem. The problem is the majority of the people that are afraid to change, and they're happy to remain stuck with the terrible things that this government has been doing, and under Blair's version of Labour as well. Change feels unstable and uncomfortable, and that's what really makes people scared. They would rather remain with the devil they know than that all of these very necessary changes that are being made to the party and of thousands like me. There's so many people that care to go to social media rather than listen to the lies of our papers that tell us that they will see he has a huge following, whilst he showed in the leadership elections as many thousands of people have joined Labour as members, and many people who, like me, are awake enough to know that these changes have to happen and they are necessary and they are right. However uncomfortable and unstable change makes us feel, we know that he knows what he's doing and we have faith in him. In my last video, I discussed how we send our children to war as soldiers. Then if they desert or find it wasn't for them, then they're thrown into jail. Now, here's something else we need to recognise. No human being born on this planet is actually illegal. Now, there are many of us who call for the deportation of the so-called illegals, whilst we have gone through history shaking ourselves free from racism. And it's now, thank God, illegal to be racist. And we have come to this far to bring, we haven't come this far to bring all of this about for people then to start grabbing back at being exactly that, being racist and making it legal again. And with many great men who have been incarcerated most of their life to bring that about, we have to accept now that what we're doing when we keep talking about these terrible illegals and what they're all going to do, and they're all going to rape our children and they're all going to do so many bad things to us, that is what's wrong, because that's what we're believing and we keep repeating the same thing as if it's real. It's better than anyone of a different race could keep on going on about this same thing. It's them people over there that are bad. But where it is law to call someone out as being illegal, that's fine. America seems to be central to this because Trump's policies seem to be always about bad Muslims. Most of us are ignorant and uneducated with the misconception that immigrants do not pay their taxes. And that is a misconception. And many do file yearly, touching on the fact that illegal immigrants are stealing your jobs. This is appalling. For the most part, many immigrants take the highly undesirable jobs, with recent immigration laws being passed prohibiting employers to hire illegal immigrants. Many of these jobs have gone unfilled. So it's easy to repeat what is so often heard by others without first having any knowledge of the actual facts. People need to start accepting that at the end of the day in America, everyone is an immigrant. It's not enough to just make it in this world that we all also need to be doing. What we need to be doing is learning how to make this world a better place. The division that's occurring because of the acceptance of this type of racism, and this is no less racism than the type where a white person is hateful to a black person. It's creating an ever wider division between human beings. And for instance, prosecutors recently charged a 51-year-old man with murder and attempted murder after they say that he'd opened fire to a crowded suburban Kansas City bar killing one man and injuring two others. The suspect uttered racial slurs and yelled, "Get out of my country," before he opened fire. The man clearly had mental health issues, and where he watches his TV, hears the news about these terrible illegals, and then the trigger is set. Here the problem isn't immigrants but poor mental health support, and this is where we should all be calling for more funding to be put into globally, not just America but absolutely here in the UK too. Also under the Tories, we have to ask what now is the future of West Cumberland Hospital. Is nobody thinking about what's going to happen to their hospital under the Tories now? It's a Tory area. It's easy to say, look, one person is to blame for all of these things going wrong, hospitals being shut down, the Red Crossers having to take patients, and people's dying on trolleys. So please do tell me where these things are Corbyn's fault, please. Because in my opinion, it's the voters who, instead of blaming those who are trying to put that right, it seems madness that they are blaming the people that are, discussing these and getting them through Parliament and getting these things changed. Labour and Corbyn's team need to unite and support Jeremy if they want the party to succeed. There's no point in wasting time in wanting to replace the leader, especially after two leadership contests where Corbyn has won both, the latter with an increased majority. There's obviously an appeal. An appeal I feel is lost on perhaps an older voter. And there are many great things that the Labour Party has done, even during the Tony Blair era. On a post I recently shared about the allowance of the gay rights, for example, I recently posted that it was during this era that the changes to gay rights laws happened. As Daniel Hay on that post pointed out, it's true, Tony Blair did more for gay rights than any other politician in history, and it's actually he's pro Tony Blair right now because he's so anti-Brexit. My answer to that is, though, that this shows it isn't the person but the policies that are either right or wrong. The right ones you continue on with, the wrong ones you put an end to. The Iraq War was certainly not one of Tony Blair's finest hours, and whilst everyone points directly at him for these crimes against humanity, remember the Tories are doing the same in Syria and would continue these values on. We need to give something and someone a very different chance to make changes, and we really do want to see that happen in the world. Well, just imagine what the world would look like if idealism was everyone's belief. Wouldn't it then be achievable? Why isn't the ideal scenario not achievable? Because everyone is out for themselves, right? People don't care what happens to their neighbours anymore like they did in wartime, in times of depression and war. People seem to up their care and giving a damn about others. Watch them pull a stranger from the wreckage, or a dog being drowned when they'll go in to save that dog when they see someone in distress. But if you see someone coping and you're coping and come into money, then suddenly human nature turns that individual into an I'm all right Jack hoarder. The Tories have done so much harm to the poorer sector, to the disabled, and it harms the NHS. And you say people don't care. Why don't they care? Because they're selfish. They're in their little bubble. Who cares if the EU neighbour who has been living in the UK 15 plus years has been paying their taxes? Throw them out. Nobody cares. Why? Because frankly, we're arseholes. And that isn't ideal, and we don't give a crap about anyone but what serves ourselves. What a horrible country we're fast becoming. Who would want to come and live here anyway amongst such selfishness anyway? You know what I think? Thank God for Corbyn, who put in the three-line whip and forced the party into line so that they could vote against the hard Brexit. That would have harmed so many lives and so many businesses. I hope to see more of this and watch Corbyn grow bigger and greater, as those who own businesses that rely on overseas business to keep their companies afloat. Yes, the Labour Party is for the working people, and Jeremy Corbyn's enforcing of a softer Brexit is very necessary. The more that happens, and the more people will start to go, oh yeah, I get it now. He did know what he was doing all along, and he was right to do it.
Now, I requote myself when I'm talking about love. Love on a physical level comes from nature, as in the giving of sustenance, as a source of nourishment, as a means of keeping the body and soul together to enable growth. On a spiritual level, love comes from nurture, the spiritual giving of care, information to enable creativity and further spiritual growth. And this again is something which Jeremy Corbyn is all for, enabling our creativity. When we have both nature's love, physical, and spiritual love, nurture, we thrive on both levels and flourish from the very beginning of our evolution. Nature has nurtured us. And as creatures, we've evolved to a human level. Nurture has become a loving act that is inherent within us. And as we evolve further, we damage the true meaning of love by relating to love as mere romantic love. Romantic love involves conditions where we're all disappointed and let down, where the other may have not given their, not fulfilled their the deal, basically. So we shut down and become more afraid to receive this kind of love. And this will ultimately then affect our genetic coding as we continue in this evolutionary journey. We are becoming more and more like the robotic machines that we are building, cold and unfeeling, shutting out emotions in a bid to self-protect. And then ego overtakes. And especially if we get some money behind us as well, we build walls against being able to be open to true love, just like uh, we're in our fear to give these machines that we build feeling in case they take over. We will, if we don't awaken the ego's fear versus the beauty of the experience of love between man and man, woman and woman, it's all the same love, we're in the danger of forgetting the true meaning of life. Sadly, we're losing something precious that's uniquely human, our ability to both offer through us nature's gifts as well as the unconditional nurture of our offspring and a romantic love with an openness that enables the very reason for being conscious of being loving and accepting love from others. I believe we will, at some point in our evolution, look back to this timeline in our evolution and regret losing the real emotions behind allowing ourselves to be free to love. Fear is our enemy. Our freedom is to open our hearts and minds enough to let ourselves love without fear of being hurt and harmed. Therefore, it is a responsibility to remember the true meaning of unconditional love, not just the love that we offer to our offspring, but more than this, to heal ourselves from the pain of the romantic love, but also the things that we're being told about how bad these other people are. We need to really start bringing ourselves together as human beings and fight for humanity. This will, if we don't awaken now, create a cold and unfeeling world where love will only be seen in the love that we see in the animals, that we see the animals show to each other. That's if we don't kill them off along with ourselves in our race for greater technology that functions like a human, but without care or feeling or empathy for where they come from and how. We must preserve the meaning of love to enable it to continue to flourish in our lives, and this alone will end hatred and wars that could wipe out not only the human race, but also the reason why the human race is here to feel and experience love. This is what we need more of in the world, and this is where I believe that the spiritual new world has begun to take shape since 2012, because everybody was saying, oh, we'll wait till 2012 and something major is going to happen. And a lot of us were saying, no, it's going to be something very gentle and we're going to see changes happening. And this is what's happening. We're gradually losing ourselves, a big part of ourselves, the loving part of ourselves, which someone like Jeremy Corbyn is so necessary to bring back into politics, into the business, into the business world, into corporations, into the greed that happens. We need more care. We need more understanding going on in the world for between each other. Otherwise, we're going to lose something really, really beautiful. So when we're choosing who we want to bring more peace into the world, certainly the choices of a leader for America isn't that man. The man will be a British leader, because it's not an American leader, obviously. I mean, America's chosen somebody that is also very much business, business, business. So it's got to be a British leader, a British Prime Minister, and he will be Jeremy Corbyn. I truly do believe this man is our one and truly hope now to bring the world back to love, or move forward and lose what we are here for ultimately. Okay, so that's me having my rant for the day. Thank you once again for joining me. Blessings to you all. Namaste. Bye for now. Bye.